agency announced $32 million in assistance for things like food, safe water, healthcare, shelter, and protection.
This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. Before we get to our main story tonight, we want to get you caught up with the biggest happenings today. So here's what you need to know right now. A controversial Texas law takes effect today, banning abortions after 6 weeks, which is well before many women even know they're pregnant. The law was enacted after the Supreme Court chose not to act on a request from abortion providers to block it. Other states have tried to enact similar laws, but they were all blocked or struck down by higher courts. So here's what makes the law in Texas different. It's not up to public officials to enforce the law. Instead, under this law, any individual, even those not living in Texas, can bring civil lawsuits against abortion providers or anyone else found to aid or abet these abortions in Texas. The Supreme Court hasn't weighed in, but could still make a ruling on the request to block the law. In Colorado, 3 Aurora police officers and 2 fire paramedics will face criminal prosecutions in the death of Elijah McClain following a grand jury investigation.
My goal as Elijah's mom was to make sure the world knew what happened to him and to somehow hold Colorado accountable for the people that they employ.
Back in 2019, McClain, a 23-year-old black man, was walking home from a convenience store wearing a ski mask. The police department said someone called 911 to report a suspicious person. When officers got to the scene, they placed McClain in a partial chokehold. Paramedics then injected him with a sedative known as ketamine. Even though McClain was not armed and had not committed any kind of crime, he suffered a heart attack on his way to the hospital and died days later. McClain's death gained widespread attention last year after the racial reckoning following the death of George Floyd. It is hot in Louisiana and Mississippi, and more than 2 million people still lack power after Ida. Power crews from across the country have gone to areas in the dark to try and get things back online as soon as possible and give residents a bit of a reprieve from the intense heat. City crews have been working around the clock to move debris from roadways, but some areas are still too flooded. Ida was the 5th most powerful storm to strike the U.S. when it hit Louisiana on Sunday, with maximum winds of up to 150 miles per hour. We're focusing our attention on Haiti, where there's a humanitarian crisis playing out after a 7.2 magnitude earthquake killed more than 2,000 people last month. Haiti's Department of Civil Protection says the earthquake injured more than 12,000 people, destroyed more than 50,000 homes, and devastated critical infrastructure in the country, making it difficult for people to address the basics like getting food or medical supplies. Hospitals have been filled to the brim, with medical staff even putting patients on the floor because of the lack of beds. To make matters worse, many of these patients have nowhere to go after they've been treated. But it's not like this earthquake hit an otherwise healthy and well-running nation. For a long time, Haiti has been considered the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and every time a natural disaster strikes, the country is hardly able to recover before the next one strikes. Since 2010, the country's been hit with 3 major earthquakes and 3 hurricanes. The recovery in Haiti right now is happening on top of a global pandemic. The country was the last country in the Americas to get doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. Haiti received its first batch just last month. Since then, less than 1% of the population has received a dose, according to data from Oxford University. The country's also dealing with a rise in gang violence and political turmoil stemming from the recent assassination of President Jovenel Moise. Currently, the country has no sitting president. As Haiti deals with one crisis after another, nations from all over the world have pledged to help the country. The U.S. Agency for International Development, which offers foreign aid, says it's sending an additional $32 million to Haiti. This is on top of food delivery and assistance in building hospitals and temporary shelters from the U.S. But as Newsy's Haley Bull explains, the help doesn't always match up to the pledge.
A 7.2 magnitude earthquake, followed by a tropical storm, leaving more hurt, more damage in a country all too familiar with disaster. Now, in the days and weeks following, people are coming together to help southern Haiti communities.
But on that day, it was actually, that's the first time in my life I thought I could die.
John Wesley Alson works for a ministry in Lake High. His home, okay, But as he drove through the streets in the aftermath,
Houses that I used to see a hole, they are crumbling in the ground. People are crying. The vehicle that we own, we had to borrow to people to go take like some of the neighbors to the hospital.
he took these photos showing the devastation. More than 2,200 killed, more than 12,000 injured, hundreds are missing, nearly 130,000 homes damaged or destroyed.
I have a friend of mine, he's one of the teachers. He was talking on the phone with his sister who were trapped under the rubble.
An immediate response, looking for the lost, helping those hurt. In the weeks since,
Desperation would be the word I would associate with it. Honestly, I don't see any recovery. There are people that still waiting for water, like, basic needs.
a U.S. Agency for International Development spokesperson tells us acute emergency medical needs have waned. Now they're focusing on delivering aid to health facilities and humanitarian organizations. The agency announced $32 million in assistance for things like food, safe water, healthcare, shelter, and protection.
And what we really want to see happen is for the purchases, whether of rebuilding supplies or of food, for those purchases to be done locally.
A focus on working with local organizations.
This is a trend that we're seeing worldwide and that we very much welcome, having more local partners and local actors responding to disasters. At the end of the day, Haitians know better what the needs of Haiti and Haitian people are.
The United Nations says there are 650,000 in need. The agency launched an appeal for $187 million.
Now we're really focusing our attention on reaching areas further fields in mountainous areas, not always accessible by roads. And to do so, we are working very closely, in fact, under the leadership of the Haitian Civil Protection and the support of U.S. through their military air assets.
An immediate need, shelter.
Most of those people in those communities are sleeping under trees because of the rain.
Marie Girardin Nicolas's photos show crumbled homes, cracks in the road, a destroyed school, people waiting for aid.
In addition to the aid that's coming in, but I should also say the local organizations here have really also stepped up to really support particularly the rural areas.
She says she's visited about 18 rural communities since the quake struck. Listening to people there led to a temporary shelter like this to help.
I am seeing more of us recognizing that we absolutely need to mobilize the experts that are in the country, and we need to pay attention and listen to the voice of the people in the country.
Needs now and needs long term.
The next disaster is coming. So let's build something that's going to be there for the long time.
Haley Bull for Newsy.
Haiti isn't the only humanitarian crisis we're seeing right now. When you're back, we'll turn our focus to the influx of Afghan refugees.